Mia was only 4 years old, barely tall enough to reach the piano keys without a cushion. But there was something extraordinary about the way she touched them. Every time her small fingers pressed down, the room seemed to pause. Her mother, Liza, a single parent working 2 jobs, would often come home tired from the long shifts but stop in the doorway just to listen. One night, as rain poured outside and thunder rolled, Mia sat at the old, slightly out-of-tune piano that her grandfather had once owned. She closed her eyes and played a melody she said she had dreamed about. Liza stood silently behind her, tears forming in her eyes. The melody was hauntingly beautiful, far too complex for a child who had never been taught how to read music. "Mia," she whispered after a few minutes, "where did you learn that?" The little girl looked up, smiling softly. "I don't know, Mommy. I just feel it here," she said, pressing her tiny hand to her chest. That night, Liza made a promise to herself. She would find a way to share her daughter's gift with the world. Months passed. Mia began playing in small community events around Manila, at churches, local fundraisers, and even school programs. People would gather, expecting to see a cute child tapping random notes, but when she started playing, the entire room would go silent. Her music had something pure, something that felt almost sacred. One day, a video of Mia performing at a charity event went viral. It was filmed by a tourist who had visited Manila for a humanitarian mission. The clip showed Mia playing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, her little legs swinging from the piano bench. The tourist uploaded it online with the caption, "This child plays like she's seen heaven." Within days, the video reached millions of views. And soon, an unexpected message arrived in Liza's inbox, from the producers of Ireland's Got Talent. They wanted Mia to audition. At first, Liza laughed, thinking it was a scam. "Why Ireland?" she asked the person on the phone. The producer replied, "Because we believe talent knows no borders. And your daughter's gift deserves the world stage." It took weeks of paperwork, sponsorships, and help from generous donors in Manila who had seen Mia's story online. Finally, with a small pink suitcase and her mother's old rosary in her pocket, Mia boarded her very first airplane. The day of the audition arrived. Dublin was cold, the air crisp and new to her. Mia, wrapped in a fluffy pink coat, looked up at the grand stage of Ireland's Got Talent, her eyes sparkling. Liza knelt down beside her and whispered, "Just play from your heart, baby. Don't think about the judges, or the lights, or the people watching. Just close your eyes, and feel it." Mia nodded. The host announced, "Next up, all the way from Manila, Philippines, please welcome, 4-year-old Mia." The audience gasped. 4 years old. Many whispered, some even chuckled softly, thinking it must be a cute gimmick. But then Mia walked out, calm and quiet, her hands barely visible over the piano keys. The judges smiled warmly. Simon Cowell, who was a guest judge that evening, leaned forward, intrigued. "Hello, Mia, are you nervous?" he asked. Mia shook her head shyly. "No, sir, I'm happy. And what will you be playing for us today?" he continued. She smiled. "A song for my mommy." The crowd let out a collective, "Ah." Simon chuckled softly. "Well, Mia, we can't wait to hear it. Good luck." Mia climbed onto the piano bench. The lights dimmed. For a few seconds, there was only silence, then her small hands began to move. The first few notes floated through the theater like a whisper. The melody was original, soft, gentle, and full of emotion. As she played, the room grew still. Her fingers danced across the keys, blending classical grace with a child's innocence. It wasn't just skill, it was soul. Halfway through, her mother in the audience began to cry quietly. The judges exchanged glances. Amanda Holden wiped away a tear. Simon Cowell, known for his tough exterior, rested his chin on his hand, visibly moved. The final note lingered in the air for what felt like forever. And when it faded, there was silence, the kind of silence that means everyone is still catching their breath. Then, suddenly, the audience erupted. A standing ovation, cheers, applause, even shouts of "Bravo!" echoed through the hall. Mia looked confused for a moment, then smiled shyly and waved her tiny hand. Simon leaned into his mic. "Mia, I don't know what to say. That was one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard on this stage." "You are a gift," Amanda added, her voice trembling, "You made us all feel something we didn't expect. You're only 4, but you played like someone who has lived 100 years." The golden buzzer moment hung in the air. Simon looked at the other judges, they all nodded. Then, with a smile, he pressed it. Gold confetti burst across the stage as Mia looked around in surprise. She turned toward her mother, who was sobbing with joy, and ran into her arms. That night, the clip of Mia's golden buzzer performance spread faster than wildfire. Within hours, millions of people around the world were watching this little girl from Manila who had brought Ireland's Got Talent to tears. In interviews afterward, when asked how she learned to play, Mia always said the same thing. "I just listen to what my heart wants to say." She didn't just win the competition, she won hearts everywhere. But what touched people most was what happened after the show. When the producers offered Liza and Mia a contract for a world tour, Liza asked if they could use part of the proceeds to build a small music school in their hometown. A few months later, they did. In a quiet street in Manila now stands a small white building with a painted sign that reads, "The Little Keys School of Music." Every afternoon, you can hear laughter and the sound of children learning to play. And sometimes, if you walk by late enough, you'll still hear Mia at the piano, teaching other kids to find their own songs. Reporters would later ask her, "Mia, what do you want to be when you grow up?" She always smiled and said, "I don't want to grow up yet. I just want to keep playing." Her story became a symbol of how raw, honest talent, when nurtured by love, can transcend borders and touch souls everywhere. Years later, when Mia turned 8, she returned to Ireland as a guest performer for the season finale. As she sat on stage again, she smiled at the judges. Simon said, "Mia, you've grown so much. Do you still remember your first song?" "Yes," she said softly. "It's still for my mommy." And as her fingers touched the keys once more, the world remembered the little girl who taught us that greatness doesn't come from size, age, or fame. It comes from the heart. Because sometimes, one small pair of hands can move the world.